Okay, so you sent over this excerpt about someone going all in on learning.
Yeah, really fascinating stuff.
1,000 days, 14 hours a day?
Oh, that's intense.
Yeah, this idea of just like sheer time investment.
But this source makes a really interesting point.
Yeah.
It says that all that dedication, all that time, it means nothing if you're breaking rules the whole time.
Oh, interesting.
So that's what I want to unpack with you today. Is sheer time investment enough to truly master something?
You know, what's so fascinating about this is the underlying assumption that more time automatically equals mastery.
Right.
And this excerpt really challenges that head on.
Yeah.
It's not just about clocking in, right?
Right.
It's about how effectively you're using those hours.
It's like saying I spent years learning to play guitar, but I still only know 3 chords. Like the effort is there, but the execution, not so much. Exactly. And that's where this idea of breaking rules is so key. Now, depending on the context here, this could be, breaking the rules of a specific system, right? Like say the rules of a particular trading strategy if we're talking about, learning to trade.
Okay, that makes sense.
But it could also be about violating these fundamental principles of learning itself.
Okay.
And that's where things get really, really interesting for anyone who's ever felt like they're hitting a wall on their learning journey.
So, okay, this breaking rules idea has me intrigued. So, like, you can be incredibly dedicated, put in all those hours, but if you're somehow breaking some fundamental rule of learning, are you even making progress?
Right.
So spill the beans. What are some of these common pitfalls that even the most dedicated learners might unknowingly be stumbling into?
Yeah. I mean, imagine someone practicing a tennis serve the wrong way for 1,000 days.
Ooh.
They wouldn't magically improve, right? They'd just be reinforcing bad habits.
Yeah.
And that's essentially breaking rules by ignoring feedback.
Yeah.
Right? Whether it's from a coach, from observing your own performance, or even analyzing your opponent's reactions.
So it's not just enough to just like blindly put in the hours. We have to actively be seeking feedback to make sure that we're on the right track.
Precisely.
To course correct, to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not just about like external feedback either.
Right.
Think about the last time you were learning something new.
Mm-hmm.
Were you actively reflecting on your progress? Did you identify where you were making mistakes and then adjust your approach accordingly?
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. I was trying to learn this new software, and I just kept hitting the same roadblock over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of like taking a step back and saying, okay, maybe I need to approach this from a different angle, maybe there's something I'm missing here, I just kept doing the same thing, hoping for a different outcome.
And that's a classic example of another one of these rules we often break, right? It's using a poor learning strategy.
Okay.
You could think of it almost like using a leaky bucket to carry water.
Oh.
You might be exerting the effort, but you're not retaining the knowledge effectively.
So we got to make sure our buckets are sturdy and leak-proof.
Exactly.
What else can trip us up, even when we think we're doing everything right?
Well, going back to your initial example of someone studying 14 hours a day, I mean, that right there raises a red flag for me.
Uh-oh.
That kind of schedule, it's incredibly intense and most likely unsustainable in the long run.
Burnout City.
Exactly. And burnout is a surefire way to sabotage even the most dedicated efforts.
Yeah.
Imagine your brain is like a muscle.
Yeah.
You can't just keep working it out constantly without giving it time to rest and recover.
So what does this all mean for someone who is serious about mastering a skill? Is intense focus inherently flawed?
Not at all. Focus is absolutely essential. But I think this excerpt reminds us it's about focused effectiveness.
Okay.
It's about aligning that deep dive with the right techniques, seeking feedback, and yes, even scheduling in downtime to avoid burnout.
So it's like instead of just sprinting blindly towards a goal, we need to be more like strategic marathon runners, pacing ourselves.
Yeah.
Adjusting our course when we need to, making sure that we're properly hydrated along the way.
Exactly. It's about making every minute of that deep dive count.
Really interesting stuff. This has really made me think about my own learning journey. And I think I'm going to go reflect on this for a little bit, see if I can identify some of those rules that I might be unknowingly breaking.
Yeah, I think that's a great takeaway for everyone.